one. Fiddler's never score. Fiddler, it's farewell. It's farewell. And he hits it. He's got it. He's got the field goal. He's got the premiership. He has gone from, as I said, a captain to a legend, and probably rugby league immortality. That's not a try. That's a miracle.
Over the last couple of days, I've asked you guys to send in your Instagram questions to me, and by far and away, the most common one has been about Jackson Hastings. As you know, we had him on the podcast at the start of the year. We got to sit down with him whilst he was in Sydney. A very misunderstood fella and a guy I've got a lot of time for. When he was younger, I couldn't stand him, I'll be perfectly honest with you, but after sitting down and talking to him, wow, he has grown up. He's a completely different footballer. He's a completely different man now, and I would love to see him back in the NRL. The one problem I've got is that it's the West Tigers talking to him. And look, I'm just going to play a little clip for you firstly, just so you can get an understanding of the chat we had. It was at the back end of our conversation, so not everyone might have heard it. It only goes for 2 minutes or so, but it's just about Jackson talking about his return to Australia if he was to come back, and talks about needing the right system, the right players, and playing the right position. And I just think it's really interesting to have a listen to. I'm going to give you my opinion. Of course, it's been the most asked question to me this week about Jackson Hastings. So I'll let you have a listen to this. I'll talk to you in a couple of minutes, and I'll give you my opinion on potentially Jackson Hastings returning in the West Tigers system. Are you coming back soon? What's the deal, mate? For me, I'm looking around the NRL and there is a lack of quality sevens in the NRL. You've gone over to England, you've gained a heap of experience. You've gone through hell in the NRL. You've learned a heap from there. It must be time soon.
It's a question I get asked a lot, and obviously I've got to respect the club I'm at now and put everything I've got into my next season at Wigan, and whatever happens from there happens. I never wanted to burn a bridge or close the door on coming back to the NRL, that's for sure. This is where I'm from. This is where my family is. And I always said one day that I probably would, if the opportunity arose at the right time in my life and in my career, I'd definitely look at coming back. For me, that would have to be the right club as well. Me and you touched on this before we got on here. I never wanted to come back for the sake of saying I'll come back. If I was going to come back, I wanted to come back, and I wanted to make an impact on the team I was going to come back to and help contribute, not just be another player in the team. So I think we both touched on again, a lot of halfbacks are coming off contract soon, and you got to want teams to want you as well. You can't just click your fingers and end up at a spot too. So, if the opportunity arises after my Wigan contract's up, I'd be silly not to look at it. And, I've probably got a chance to right a few wrongs and not prove people wrong. I'm not about proving people wrong. Like, you're going to get hate and doubt and all that shit from everywhere. It's about proving yourself right and proving that you can do it at a high, consistent level too. So that's something that's always been in the back of my mind. But, I'm not 100% sure as of yet, but in the near future, you possibly could see me back here. And if I do, hopefully it's half as successful as what I've been in England. I'd be happy. But at the moment, I just want to hopefully win a comp for Wigan this year, hopefully continue playing good, successful footy, stay healthy, keep enjoying not only playing but life in general. It's been great to go over there and experience something new. And, who knows what the future holds. But I appreciate you saying that because, it's nice hearing that from someone over here.
And mate, obviously when eventually, hopefully when you do return, are you returning as a halfback? I mean, I feel like there's the potential for you to get caught in, a bit of a utility role here and there. Are you coming back as a 7, as a 6, as a 1? Where do you think you would play your best footy in the NRL?
Yeah, probably not 1. I think 1, I'm too heavy for a start. I'm 100 to 101 kilos at the moment, and I'm way too heavy, not fast enough. And 1's a specialist position at the moment. I think if you look at the top tier 1s, you got to be on every single play. And I just don't think I'm quick enough to be back of those sweep lines or pushing up the middle or doing what Tedesco. And I don't think I could do that at a high quality level. So I'd probably wipe that out the window. But I suppose depending on who my halves partner is, obviously playing in the halves, or maybe if someone needed a hooker, I could play hooker. If someone gave me a full preseason at 9, I think I could do a pretty good job there and be consistent every week. But as I said, it's got to be the right fit first in terms of where you want to play, and then the people they already have in the squad and what the coach wants and if they believe in you or not too. So, yeah, I'd probably say a 7 or a 9 if I was gonna say anything to you, mate. But yeah, at the moment I'm playing a lot of 7. I played a fair bit of footy at 9 for Wigan last year as well, half an hour spurts to give Sammy a rest. So I'm not sure, mate. I don't want to keep growing because I don't want to, as you laughed at on Instagram, I don't want to have to go to 13, that's for sure, and take it up. So I don't want to be getting creased every game. So
Miss me with that stuff, thank you.
Yeah. I'll be ball playing. I won't be taking no hit ups, that's for sure. But yeah, probably 7 or 9, mate, I'd say.
For me, this news around the West Tigers reaching out to him, it's really no shock to me. And look, I copped a lot of pushback in the preseason talking about the West Tigers and their dysfunction and how worried I was about them, how worried I was about Luke Brooks. And I heard it all this offseason. Michael Maguire's going to get it sorted. We've signed James Roberts. We've signed Joey Leilua, second year. Luke Brooks, he's going to own the team. He's going to take the world on. Dwayne, he's going to be fantastic. I heard it all. Yeah, Dane Laurie has been by far and away the best thing to ever happen to you. I sort of thought he'd be good. I didn't think he'd be this good. He looks sensational. Joa Ofahengawi, he walks in. He's a former Origin player. James Tamu, he's won a premiership. He's played for Australia. He's played for the state. He's done it all. We've got all these gun players in the system, and I'm sorry, here we are. We're week 3. Joey Leilua has been dropped. He's already had a brain explosion. Luke Brooks has had 2 absolute shockers. He looks absolutely lost to me. They've been flogged both times. They've played the Canberra Raiders and the Roosters. Tough start, I know. They had 6 months to get their defence ready. They've conceded, 70 points in 2 weeks? I mean, sorry, are we ready to look at the writing on the wall here? I've been saying this for a long time, and it just worries me that all of a sudden Luke Brooks, he was the future. He's our guy. He's our man. 3 weeks later, we need Jackson Hastings. This club is in free fall at the moment to me. I've been saying this for a while, got a lot of pushback, but it is serious trouble. And I know Jackson Hastings won't reach out to me to say, what's your advice? I wouldn't expect him to, of course. But I'll tell you what, if I was to talk to Jackson, if I was to be perfectly honest with him, if he was to listen to this, I would say, mate, consider your situation. You're in a fantastic side over there. I'm tipping they're going to win the Super League this year. They are star-studded. The West Tigers, you're going to walk back in without a preseason there with a 5'8", that, I'm sorry, I don't think he's a 5'8", Adam Dwayne. You've still got Luke Brooks in the building. You've got a forward pack that on paper they're all right. I'm sorry, have you watched the first 2 weeks? They are just getting belted and bashed through the middle. You've got a coach that won a premiership 7 years ago and people are still relying on that. I'm sorry, he hasn't produced since. You've got defensive backs outside that are complete and utter liabilities. For me, this isn't the system Jackson Hastings should be going back into. And you know, when we spoke, you obviously just heard that audio. He did speak about needing the right coach, the right players around him. And off mic, we spoke more intently. As Jackson mentioned that podcast, we spoke for about an hour before we hit the record button, just about his situation, his life, heading back to the NRL, the sort of footballer he is now. And the thing that kept coming up was Jackson wants to come back for the right reasons. Jackson doesn't want to come back to be in the NRL. Jackson wants to come back to a good system and a good situation. The reality is with Jackson, he has to exceed expectation for people to be happy with him. He's a guy that's always had a target on his back. There's always been exceeded pressure on him. He's the son of an absolute gun. He came through with a lot of hype. He was hyped up unbelievably coming through juniors. So he should have been. He looked like a could not miss talent. He came in. He did really well, like a Kyle Flanagan, like these other guys, though. His team didn't make finals. He didn't over-exceed, so people got the shits with him. His other problem was he had a heap of attitude when he first came in. And I said to him in this podcast, mate, you were right on the line where confidence meets arrogance, and if I had to side on one, I would have said arrogant back then. And Jackson cops that on the chin. He's improved out of sight, yeah? He is such a better person now. He's such a better man now, and he's turned the corner. But I'll tell you what, if Jackson Hastings walks back into this West Tigers system and they don't do well, which I'm close to guaranteeing you they won't do well. I love Jackson. He's a fantastic footballer. He's not going to turn this club around in an instant. They've got much more deep-rooted issues than who's wearing the 7. They're even talking about playing at 13. I mean, I like it, but it's not going to turn this club around. And Jackson Hastings, he's going to have the finger pointed at him straight away. There's going to come a moment in this season where, in my opinion, Luke Brooks isn't going to be the 7. I think he will leave the club this year. I said it before a ball was kicked this year. I think you can see the writing on the wall at the moment. This is not working. They've reached out to Jackson Hastings. They had 6 months to prepare for this season. They had 6 months to prepare knowing, fuck, we've got the Roosters, the Raiders in the first 2 rounds. We're going to have to be up. You know what fell on their side? The Raiders. They played them round one. It's Josh Hodgson's first game back. It's his first game back working that connection with Jack Whiten, with Georgie Williams. They were missing Jared Croker. They were missing Corey Horsburgh. They were missing CHN. A heap of guys out. Still didn't compete. They had the Roosters week 2. Yeah, who's missing there? Look at all the guys out. Cordner, Radley, all like absolute guns, absolute stars in this team that were not in this side. They're still working out their new halves combination. Still put 40 points on them, put 6 points on the scoreboard that they scored from dummy half. This is a club that I would highly advise Jackson Hastings does not go to, because I'll tell you what, and it's not going to be good for the Tigers either, because Jackson Hastings is going to be scrutinised. He's going to be under so much pressure. He's going to cop it left, right and centre. And it's just going to put more of a shining light on the West Tigers, because there's going to be a lot of older journos that have gone in on Hastings. There's going to be a lot of fans that have gone in on Hastings over the years, and they're hoping he fails. That is the reality of Jackson Hastings, yeah? The way that he carried on when he was younger, there are people that are hoping he fails, and they will be stoked to see him come back into a West Tiger system that doesn't do well. He will have the finger pointed at him, and he will get scrutinised again, and people will love it. It's unfortunate, but Jackson Hastings, he fits into this same column as Corey Norman, as, you know, a few other guys that they just... Jamie Soward was one back in his day. People love to hate them. People like to see them fail, and it is really disappointing. But that's the reality of Jacko's situation. And for me, I would highly advise he turn this one down. I would not be walking back into this system. There will be other NRL clubs that will be knocking on the door within 12 months. Next year, there's going to be a heap of guys off contract. You're seeing Adam Reynolds leave. There's rumours Sean Johnson could go. We're hearing Michael Morgan is not good. We're hearing Jake Clifford. He's already gone to the Knights. There's going to be a spot at the Cowboys. That's one spot. There could be a spot at South Sydney. There could be a spot at the Roosters if they don't do well this year. God knows what they're going to do. You all told me that Cole Flanagan was going to be there for 10 years, 12 months ago. He's already out on his ass. You don't know what could happen at Canterbury. You don't know what could happen at Penrith. There could be injuries. There could be so many things that could happen over the next 12 months. There is 16 teams in this competition. For me, there's about 6 to 8 actual halfbacks that you want to have in your team. There is not a top shelf of great sevens in our game. I believe if Jackson Hastings came back, he would need to come into the right system, and I think he would be extremely successful. I do not think the Tigers is that system. If the West Tigers aren't looking at Adam Reynolds, I think they're doing something seriously wrong. They need to be putting all their eggs in that basket for me. Jackson Hastings is not the answer. Do not drag this kid halfway across the world to come back with a heap of pressure on his back, everyone waiting for him to fail, and then put him into this system where the forward pack doesn't win the middle at all. They haven't worked out who their best hooker is. They got Moses Mbai floating around. They don't know what position he plays yet. They got Joseph Leilua. They had 6 months to get him ready to play on the right edge. One game he lasted, and they went, they had 6 months to get him used to the left edge. They swapped sides. You will remember round 2 last year, they moved him away from his brother because they didn't trust him. They move him there this year. It's taken 2 rounds and one just complete and utter brain explosion tweet for them to say, no, we can't deal with Joseph Leilua in this side anymore. This is not the system Jackson Hastings needs to walk back into. This is not healthy for him, and it will not be healthy for the West Tigers. He is not the answer. You do a good footy team does not spend an entire preseason, then get to week 3 and go, fuck, okay, the house is burning down. What are we going to do? We need to get this guy. What is that? I don't understand. I just don't get it. It just makes no sense. They lost 2 games in a row. Yeah? Just calm down. You've hyped it up for the last 6 months, how good your squad is, how happy you're with it. All of a sudden you get to round 2 and it's chaos. Melbourne Storm just lost 2 games in a row. They got a heap of injuries. Are they trying to bring guys in left, right and centre? No, because they have good self-esteem. The West Tigers don't. This is real trouble. To spend this much time in a preseason, making all the right noises, letting everyone knowing how well you're going. Did you remember hearing about how good Joey Leilua's preseason was, how fit he was? It's round 3 and he's gone. It's round 3. Like, I don't understand what is going on at this club, and this just stinks of desperation. And Tigers fans, you're going to get mad at me. You're going to DM me and tell me to fuck off, and that's completely fine. I'll cop that on the chin. That's fine. But your season, it is unraveling exactly how I expected it to. Yeah, when I saw the Dragons lose to the South Sydney Rabbitohs in that trial game, I thought, you know what? Without Cam McInnes, with a couple of new combos, the Dragons, they might take the spoon off the Tigers here. And there's other teams, there's Canterbury and Brisbane, who are looking awful as well. But the West Tigers, you're not looking all that much better, yeah? You're really not. And for me, the strongest word that a person can use is no. Yeah, this is a great opportunity for Jackson Hastings to come back in the NRL. That would be his dream. We know that he wants to do it, but saying no It gives you the power. It lets other clubs know that you want to be in the right system. You think you're above going to play in that system that is going to be built on dysfunction. There are opportunities, and then there are the right opportunities. For me, this is an opportunity. It isn't the right opportunity. If I was Jackson Hastings, I would respectfully turn this one down. I would wait for another opportunity to present itself. He's 26 years old, Jacko. He's coming into the peak of his careers over the next 2 or 3 years. If he has to wait 18 months to get back in the NRL, that will be nothing but good for Jackson Hastings. It would be a hard no from me on this one. A hard no. The situation he's in over there in England, there's a chance he might play in the lock forward role. They've got a heap of halves and hookers in their side that are just all-time talents. They're going to be sensational. A couple of guys you know are just going to dominate over there in the English Super League. There's a chance he might play 13. Realistically, there's a good chance he might play 13 for the West Tigers. That's what they're talking about. I think eventually he would take the 7 jersey off Luke Brooks, but it's not a jersey I want to inherit. It comes with so much pressure, so much scrutiny, and he's not a fan favourite walking back in there. He's a guy that has got so much to prove to everyone, and he's going to have to make plays, which means he's going to have to take risks, which means in this side it's not always going to work out for him. And when he doesn't, he's going to hear all about it, because this team, they cannot defend their errors. That's the number one thing they've shown this year. You all told me Michael Maguire, defensive guru, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. He doesn't. He doesn't do it. I'm sorry. He doesn't do it. He doesn't have the team. He doesn't have the squad right now. And for me, this would just heap so much pressure on Jackson Hastings, and it would set him back so far. Wait for the right opportunity. Don't just go for any opportunity, Jackson. This is not the right one for you, in my opinion. I would be patient. I would wait. There's a lot of good teams with good forward packs and good systems built on solid foundations that are going to need genuine halves over the next few years, and I think that's going to be your calling. Just my opinion. I'm not giving you any scoops. I haven't spoken to Jackson Hastings in the last few days, but I spoke to him for 3 hours 2.5 months ago. We had a great chat. He was very honest with me. We spoke off mic for longer than we spoke on mic, and he just opened up to me, and this is the feeling I've got. And I think deep down, if he does go to the West Tigers, I think he's going to be very worried. I think he's going to know that he hasn't made the right decision, but we'll see how it plays out. As I always say with the Tigers, got an unbelievably loyal fan base. I love that whenever I say so negative, I get DMs going, fuck off, you're an idiot guru, you don't know what you're talking about, you're a dribbler. I love how loyal the West Tigers fans are, and I think they deserve so much better than what they get right now. And fingers crossed, I'm completely wrong. Fingers crossed, Jacko walks back into this system over the next 6 weeks and turns the Tigers season completely around. But for me, I highly doubt it.